Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Kickstarter for Writers panel. And I have with us today Eli Quake and SableAradia of Diane Morrison in the science fiction and fantasy community. Right? Eli does go by the name Eli Quake as their uh, writing
Quick handle.
handle.
Yeah.
Right? Um, and we're going to discuss how Kickstarter works for writers. So, if I could get you two to introduce yourself a little bit and perhaps a little bit of your experience with Kickstarter, right? We'll start on the far left and we'll go with Eli.
Okay. So my name is Eli Quake. My pronouns are they, them, obviously. And I've only done one Kickstarter at this point, but I have another one coming up very soon. And the first Kickstarter was very successful, more so than I ever expected it to be. And yeah, that's about my experience with Kickstarter. Sable?
My name is Diane Morrison. I'm known in the community as SableAradia. I'm a science fiction and fantasy and pagan nonfiction author. I have run hybrid author. I'm both independently and traditionally published. I have successfully run 2 Kickstarters for books previously, and I have a third one active now, which is, I believe, $73 away from reaching its goal at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah. Eli's also going to be starting a Kickstarter soon, 1st of July, right?
Yes, 1st of July.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay. To start us off, okay, I think I'll start and throw a question at Eli there to start with, and then we'll go with Eli, and then we'll switch over to you, Sable, and you can answer the same question. And the question is, what was the biggest thing in your first Kickstarter that you didn't anticipate?
Ooh, good question.
Didn't anticipate. I did not anticipate in any way, shape, or form being funded in less than 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Yes.
Right on.
Actually, I didn't anticipate being funded, so less than 12 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot stay the same, by the way. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, none of my Kickstarters were funded that fast. The first 2 were slogging it right through to the very last day. And, well, this one is doing really well. It's 9 or 10 days in, right? So I'm doing much better than the other 2 have gone. The biggest thing I didn't anticipate was that there's always something that goes horribly wrong. And you actually need a fair bit to have a contingency for that. Like in my first Kickstarter, 2 or 3 books that I had to ship to people, which were signed books, never arrived. I think probably because they were stolen out of the mailbox at some point. Yeah, that's fun. So I had to resend them, which of course means they cost them twice as much. They cost me twice as much as I had anticipated, plus the shipping as well, right? In the second one, somebody in the last 2 hours of the Kickstarter went for the major package, which took us over, and then never paid.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Right. So that was a big hit. This time I put in a $500 contingency fund for if shit goes horribly wrong as part of my budget.
That's smart. Yeah.
Which leads me to my next question. Having seen what you didn't anticipate and having seen what you can go wrong in a Kickstarter, what's the biggest recommendation you have to somebody who wants to start their first Kickstarter for a book? Start with Sable.
Know your budget. I realize that it's kind of a pain in the ass to go through. If you've got to ship something, right, then you might have to go down to the post office with whatever it is, an example that's similar to what you're going to send, and then ask individually what it will cost to send to the places that you want to send it to, right? So, I kind of do a spread, right? I'll say, okay, what would this cost? Or find out the weight and do it from home. You can do that too, weight and size, and then do it from home. On most postal services now have calculators that'll let you do that. But I'll test it for my side of Canada, the other side of Canada, 2 or 3 random places in the United States, Europe, like a couple of different places, one in at least 1 or 2 in the EU, one in the UK, right? China and Australia, right? And I do that because I want to have worldwide shipping available, and I don't want to exclude anybody from my Kickstarters. So in order to do that, I have to make sure that I can generally afford it. And then I don't want to individually put, you can individually put all those locations as different shipping options for Kickstarter, but I generally kind of go, all right, well, it roughly costs this much to this much. So in any place that isn't the United States or Canada, in my personal case, so I'm going to just, average it at this and come what may, right? Because it's simpler for other people too.
Yeah.
Sure.
One of the things that I also did not anticipate for my first Kickstarter was the budget that I needed for the Kickstarter. So I guess the advice that I would give to someone doing one for the first time is budget and then over budget.
Yes.
Yes. I actually had a spreadsheet for my first Kickstarter, which obviously was not enough. I adjusted the spreadsheet for the second Kickstarter that I'm doing. So it's a little bit different. It takes into account things like I have to ship the books to me before I can ship them to other people.
If you have to sign them,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that can make a big difference, right?
Right.
That's why my signed copies are like twice the reward cost of the ones that are just sent. Because I work with a drop shipping service, and I can do that from, if you don't want the book signed, I just have to send it to you once. I work with Ingram Spark. They have distribution centers in different places around the world that make it relatively cheap to ship wherever you are. But if you need me to send it to me first, sign it, and then send it to you, it can get quite expensive. So that's why I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll see if I can come up with some more questions here.
Well, do you want us to talk more about other things that we think are good pointers for people just starting out, perhaps?
Well, that's sort of where I was getting at, right? What's the biggest thing you forgot?
I forgot to budget for shipping to me before shipping to other people. So that's the biggest thing I forgot. That was very important, and I shouldn't have done that.
Right. How hard did that hit you?
Not that bad, actually. I still had almost enough. I didn't have enough to get all of the print copies that I would have liked for my first book, Reaper, onto Ingram Spark, which is one of the stretch goals that I was supposed to be able to do. I did get enough to do a hard copy and an e-copy. So I did those.
Excellent. Okay. And how about you, Sable? What was the biggest thing you forgot on the first Kickstarter?
Let's see. What did I forget? I forgot to budget money for promotion in the first one. I did not consider the cost of ads. And so I kind of, struggled through with that.
Right. Okay.
But it worked out in the end. I just ended up having to fund my own promotion, right? And the point of doing a Kickstarter, if you're an author, I think, is that there are a lot of hidden costs in self-publishing, and they don't tell you about that. Now, you can just post an ebook onto Amazon, take your royalties, which are, not the best, and but there you go. You can do that. But getting it seen in all the different books that are out there, if you're serious about this and you want to make a career out of it, is much more difficult. You kind of need to have eye-catching cover art. It has to say something about your book. There are great cover designers out there who will do this for you, and 99% of the time that'll work. The Lady Wrights does cover designs. They're beautiful, you know. So yeah, that can get done. It still costs money though, because they're a professional service and you have to pay them for it.
Right, so remember to budget for that in your Kickstarter.
Yes.
Yeah, a layout is expensive too, right? If you're getting a professional person to do that, and you might want to, because book formatting can be tricky with things like Calibra. You can use it to do that, but I'm no good at it, for one thing. Right?
Yeah, I'm fortunately good at formatting the insides of the books. EPUBs are a little harder. They're tricky.
Yeah, I would say that Kickstarter is a useful resource that kind of evens the gap between poorer and richer independent authors.
Yeah.
If you have $10,000 to throw at the printing and promotion of your independent book, you will be a success, almost certainly. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't. Right?
I don't either.
Dirt bloody poor. I've been dirt bloody poor most of my life, and I have to find other ways.
Yeah.
Right? So this is one of the ways I've found.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about how Kickstarter. What your opinions on Kickstarter and stuff. I'm just going to turn the floor over to you two now and see if you can carry a conversation for a bit.
Okay.
About how to use Kickstarter. What, you know.
Sure. Where do you want to start there, Eli? Do you figure we should start with, I don't know, what was the last question you asked there, honey?
The last question that I asked was, I forget.
I'm sorry, this is my last panel. It has been a very long day.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Me too, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with then. I'm sorry if I've forgotten your question, and I will. I'll ask a question, and we'll maybe we'll go back and forth. What do you think?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
First of all, before we do that, you both brought your books that you Kickstarted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't we give a show of those and show what things are? This is her Kickstarted book, Hindsight Being 2020.
Yep.
Right.
Beautiful.
A collection of poetry and short stories, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first one. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead, hon.
Yeah, go ahead there, Eli.
I was just saying it looks really good. I'm really happy with how it came out from the print distributor, which I also used Ingram Spark.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Okay, so
Awesome.
Sable, your book?
Yeah, this is the first one that
Has
was
to come closer
successfully.
to the center of your camera.
Oh.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
This is Once Upon a Time in the Weird West. I originally published these as a serial on Kindle, but the first 6 of them made a complete story arc. I thought they'd make an excellent print book. I went, well, I don't have the money to do this the way it should be done. I am going to ask the community for, to back the project. And it was successful. It was a slog, but my community did support me. They crowd published this, as I like to say.
Yes.
The second one was easier. This is Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, a fantasy western anthology. I had an idea of, I like this genre, and I'd like to see more people writing in this genre. I wonder if I can convince other people to contribute, and I will pay them royalties. And I got an amazing response. I put up a call for submissions on the Grinder, and there's some amazing people in here, people I never anticipated would be interested in publishing with the likes of Little Me in a crowd-funded project, right? I have I have a story by Diana L. Paxson.
Oh,
right?
wow.
I have a story from, you met Ricardo Victoria. He's one half of a team that won or was nominated twice for the Sidewise Award, which is an award for alternate history given at the Hugos. his partner, Brent A. Harris, also has a story in here, right? I just found out recently, Joachim Heinderman, he has now written an episode of Love, Death, and Robots, which is my new science fiction obsession show. I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I was like, Joachim would really like this story. Oh, he fucking wrote it. Oh, wow. Why didn't I hear about this? So yeah, it was an amazing project. And this is an example of the kind of things that you can accomplish with Kickstarter, because nobody knew me at that point. I was just kind of getting started. I like to say I'm kind of on the backbench of the NHL team now. I'm starting to get known in the science fiction circles, but I'm nobody, right? I'm a backbencher, but I'm on the team.
Yes.
So, but that was
Which
one
is
of
a
the
lot more than many people can say they've ever done.
Yeah.
To get on the team. So.
Well, thanks, hon. But I mean, there's a lot more to go, and
right, yeah.
But that's where that's where people got to know me, right?
And that's where this Kickstarter's come in. It's very encouraging, right? When you see that, when you see, holy shit, 67 people want to see me succeed and are going to give me up to like $3,000. You know?
Yeah.
Right? You're like, wow. Right? You know, and it then gives you confidence that you can do.
That's awesome.
National
There's
Hockey
other
League says stretch. Not
that's
the
right.
NFL. The NHL.
Oh yeah, NHL. Yeah, I'm a backbencher, but yeah. Thank you. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Story Girl says, I love, yay, another Love, Death, and Robots fan says, I love the one of the three robots in Old Human Town meeting the cats. Bloody great. The one that Joachim wrote was called All Through the House. So if you remember that episode, I was like, yeah, right.
That's the one with the alien Santa?
Thank you very much for spoiling the whole fucking episode, but yes.
I need to check that one out. I keep seeing it and going, I need to watch that, and then getting distracted by something shiny.
You must.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't even remember what we started with now. I'm very sorry. I'm going to try to...
what we just started with was I had you showing off your projects and stuff like that,
right.
Just to see what people can do. You know, like, it's encouraging to know that this resource is out there and that there are people that will support you, right?
Yes.
Like Eli said, that was their biggest surprise, right? 12 hours they were funded in.
That's awesome.
You know?
Shocking. Just shocking.
Right? And we've done 10 days and we're funded. Right? This is our biggest project yet. Right?
Yep.
I say our because I'm a part of this world, but
yep.
But I'm her support staff.
Yep.
Right? And and it's looking like it's going to be a success. I can't see how it won't be.
Well, don't count chickens before they're hatched. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Right? In a Kickstarter, if you're just starting out, never count your chickens before.
Right. Oh no. Got to get funded and then you can celebrate.
That's right. So, let's see. What are things that you wish somebody had been more helpful with in explaining when you put together your first Kickstarter?
I kind of wish that somebody had told me a little bit more about budgeting, because that was the big problem area with my my first Kickstarter was the budget.
You shot low?
I shot low. I shot very low.
Yeah.
This time I'm shooting a little bit high. Not too far. I still don't have a marketing budget, but I'm very bad at marketing, so there's no point. This time I'm shooting higher, a little bit high for what I really need, but I'd rather have the buffer between me, what I want to accomplish, and what I actually get. So.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Looks like we have a couple of questions in the chat here. Do we want to go there? I agree with you about the budgeting, but it's hard to know.
Yeah, especially for your first one.
Yeah, it's. I think it's more helpful when you have already got an idea. Basically, the roundup. You know, consider how much you think it's going to cost, and then budget for twice as much. Basically,
Yeah.
right? Don't neglect the instructions. My advice is Kickstarter has a lot of instructions for just starting a Kickstarter. Pay attention.
Read them. Read them. Yes.
Yeah.
They're actually very useful, practical advice.
Okay.
Yes.
So go to the questions in chat there, Sable.
Okay, so the first question was from Fantasine. When doing Kickstarter stuff, is there a printer that you would recommend for getting copies to sign for people? I would think that's a personal preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it all depends on where you are in the world too.
Yeah, that's true. Where you are
Right.
very much limits your options or expands your options depending upon where you are.
Right. I tend to use Ingram Spark myself because I dislike Amazon and I wanted wide distribution, and all the research I found indicated that they were my best option for that I could find. They do have a small startup fee. You have to take that into consideration with your budget.
Yes.
However, I can see that Angstase has had very poor experiences with Ingram Spark, actively doesn't like them, and hates what they do in Canada. So it's, do your research is
Yeah.
advice for your preference.
Yeah, there's a few options. There's a few options. It's just you got to figure out what works best for you.
A next question is one I actually don't know that I can answer. How do you recover from a failed Kickstarter? And this is from Angsthase.
Yeah.
I can't speak to this from experience because I have not done a Kickstarter that has failed. I have had Kickstarters that have come really close to failing, right? The second one really was kind of a skin of your teeth kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I guess that I would just, move on with the most basic of what I could actually afford to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I would try again with something else, basically. That's how I would deal with it because I've fallen on my face in a lot of different ways in my life. So I would just get my ass up after a bit and get back on it, right?
Yeah, I would build my audience personally. Once again, I don't have any experience, but I would continue to build my audience, try again, and see if you can do it another time with a different project. And with any project where you're depending on crowdfunding for funding, have a plan B. If plan A doesn't work, try to figure out a different way to do it, even if it's a worse way to do it.
Story Girl asks, do you have any figures on the relative success of anthologies versus novels, or single authors versus collective collaborative projects?
I think that's a question for you because I don't have any of those things.
I don't have any figures, but what I do know is that I see from a casual observation, if you look at successful and unsuccessful fiction projects on Kickstarter, which you can do, you can search and kind of get a general idea. It tends to show a lot more failed individual projects than it does collaborative ones. Because the publishing industry is changing, if you're not one of the big four, and God, we're now a big four instead of big five, which was bad enough, right?
Yeah.
If you're not one of the big four, you're a struggling business if you're trying to be a publisher. It's difficult. So Kickstarter is becoming part of the business model for a lot of publications. Certainly this is true of RPGs, and they tend to do really well on Kickstarter. They fund in the thousands of dollars, right? A collaborative project is collaborative projects seem to do pretty well as long as you've got one or two people involved that someone has heard of in whatever genre you're working on. I've seen a lot of people that are movers and shakers in SIFWA or in the Hugos, much higher placed, more respectable people than myself, people I want to be when I grow up, are managing collaborative projects through Kickstarter.
Yes.
Also making a few $1,000s and doing pretty well. So
yeah. there's at least one collaborative project that I don't want to name names because I don't know how public this is, but there's a major name author who's going to be doing a Kickstarter sometime in the near future.
Right.
Yep.
Neat. And that's another thing. Another reason why an author might want to go with Kickstarter instead of, independent publishing on its own or a traditional publisher is because they want the creative control for whatever reason. Maybe they're having trouble selling their idea to their publisher, or maybe their publisher wants them to change something they feel strongly they shouldn't change. Maybe it's something fucking wacko like a, fantasy space opera war novel, right? But for whatever reason, they don't want to do it through a traditional publisher, but they want to know, is this something that people would support, right? I know it's a little nuts. Does it have a market? A Kickstarter is also good for that. It's a good market research tool. Because if there's enough of people out there to support your Kickstarter, you have an audience for your book.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also good as a marketing tool.
Yes.
Maybe you want to address that, actually. I've talked a lot here.
Yes, I can do that. For example, when I was doing the Kickstarter for Hindsight Being 2020, I had no idea if there was going to be a market for a collection of short stories and poetry. It's kind of an odd thing, but it was what I had to put out, so that was what I put out. And I was kind of using it as a experiment to see, first of all, did I have a platform to stand on at all? And second of all, would anyone be interested in that kind of book? And apparently the answer was yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably helped that I had started doing Twitch streaming and would read the poems that I was working on out loud to myself on my streams. So people got an idea of what was coming for the book. It also probably helped, this might be a good segue into the videos. It probably also helped that my Kickstarter video for Hindsight was actually a poem that I had written specifically for the video.
That was a great video.
That was a great video. That's a big thing, I would think. And correct me if I'm wrong, but your Kickstarter video is really important to your Kickstarter.
It is, yes.
It's what's going to tell people this is what's getting you excited. This is what's, there. Mm-hmm. Because text, you can't convey any emotion in.
Yeah.
It's more difficult. But
yeah.
I think the figures at Kickstarter say something like 85% of successful projects have a video.
That sounds about right, yeah.
So make a video would be the other thing I would say. Even if it's, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is me in my room recording on my cell phone. Please check out my project, thanks. Because people want to see your face, and better if they know something about what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? Although, also tailor it to the genre.
Yes. Writing a poem for a book of poetry and short stories. Perfect. And they really did a great job. Did we get their video, by the way, honey?
I did, and I can't remember where I put it.
Oh dear.
I can't find it. I put it on my computer somewhere, and I know I got it after the reformat, so it's there somewhere. I
could always share screen and put it up on my computer.
Yeah, okay.
That would be awesome. Let's have a look at videos. That's because this will give you a couple of different examples of different ways to approach it. We thought our books were very different genres, right? So, yeah.
Let me just open this and then pause it very fast because.
And Story Girl, I see your question and I will answer it, and I'm sure Eli will too. When
how do I get out of full screen? Okay, there we go.
Thanks for the information there, Angstaze, on ALLI or whatever that was. ALLI.
Yeah, that's the Alliance of Independent Authors. Something I don't remember what the acronym is, but it's an independent author guild. Basically, it's like SIFLA for indies. And not genre specific. So, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, thanks for all the information on that there, Anastasia. That's great. Here we go. Eli Quake is presenting.
There we go. And where's the... I think this is the right button.
Sit down. Let me tell you a story. A tale of a year.
Okay, it's really quiet.
Oh,
And the writing I have amassed. 13 stories, an unlucky number. 13 for an unlucky year. 39 poems to go with the stories. That's 52 things, so I hear. Together they make this collection of prose and of rhyme from my heart. Of grief, of love, and of kindness. Those are some themes for a start. The goals I am seeking are simple, just ISBNs for this tome. Just enough also to print it, so you can have one in your home. I hope that you liked this small poem. I hope you have money to spare. ISBNs are expensive. My bank account makes me despair. If you have $1 or 20, if you have a love for loose rhyme, please back this collection of stories and share it if you have the time.
That's really awesome. Thanks, Eli.
yep. And I recorded that on my phone.
Yeah, so it doesn't take a lot of high tech to make a good video, is what she's saying. Or
Right.
they're
No.
saying. I'm sorry, I keep misgendering you, and that's
Eh,
rude. All right.
close enough.
It's because you're wearing lipstick.
Yeah, I don't usually wear lipstick, but I decided in solidarity with Author Goddess, I would wear lipstick today.
Right. Okay. All right. So, anyways,
Yeah.
now can you figure out how to present your video? I don't have it set up on this
Okay.
setup
Let's
here.
see.
I forgot.
Is your system going to go bork if you play something on YouTube or on another page? Because that may be the easiest.
No.
Okay. Right, because mine would. So maybe, either go to the Kickstarter page or the
YouTube page?
YouTube page. Yeah.
Okay, well, give me a link.
Give you a link?
Yeah.
Which one do you want?
YouTube.
I'm
I guess.
laughing at Angstaze.
What's that?
Yeah.
For cheaper ISBNs, recommend being Canadian.
Yep.
For cheaper bands, I recommend being Canadian, yes.
Here, just a
And she
sec, I'll
just
give you
recommends being Canadian in general, but yeah, that's
I
true.
do too, and I'm Californian.
Okay, I'm looking for the YouTube.
Californian's close to Canadian.
Just a smidgen away. Especially where I am. I'm almost in Mexico at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are you, San Jose?
I'm in Palm Springs, California,
Ah, okay.
at the
All
moment.
right.
At the moment, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to spot your link in the DM here, honey, and
Yeah.
Hopefully that works.
Yeah.
Hope I got the right video, but this is the one I'm currently running. So, let's see if people want to have a look at my older Kickstarters. Just a second here.
I could actually... There is a Google, or not a Google, YouTube link for my newer Kickstarter video. I just gotta find the link. There it is. I found it.
Cool.
So I will message that as well.
All right, so this. Okay.
Okay, so I got the video up.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. I'm just I'm posting the links to my other 2 Kickstarters so that people can see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
And
idea.
I'll talk about that afterwards.
Hi there.
Okay.
My
There's a
name is
couple of
Diane
things.
Morrison,
Right
and I'm
in
a
the center
science
of the
fiction and
screen,
fantasy author.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
looking for your help to publish my novel, A Few Good Elves. 3 years ago, you guys helped me publish Once Upon a Time in the Weird West, which is a collection of my Weird Western serial stories. And 2 years ago, you helped me to edit and publish Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, a fantasy western anthology. I figure we make a winning team.
And you took a year off.
I love this video.
Well, I love your videos, so there you go.
The Toy Soldier Saga is a fantasy
Good night,
space opera
Massadis.
universe.
Night, Massadis.
It has all of the elements of space opera science fiction, but everything's done by magic. I don't think there's anything out there that is quite like it. And I really hope that you'll enjoy it and the extended universe that has been created around it.
I am Chris. I play Erin, the grizzled older ex-enlisted elf.
Remember, we've only got 30 days to make this happen. With your support, you can have some of the art that's been created for the books, you can have the stories, the ebook, a trade paperback copy, a hardcover copy, you might be able to get them signed. You could even get the entire collection of everything that I have previously published or been published in. Thanks in advance for your support, and thank you for listening.
Yeah. So the reason why I thought it might be interesting to show our videos is the comparison and contrast based on the genres that we're working with.
Yes.
Right. Both of us kind of tailored our videos to suit what people expect from the genres, and also it's important that you highlight your selling points.
Yes.
Right? Know what those are.
Hi, Chrysalia.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Eli's book is very intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's
Yes.
a book about the poems and stories that they wrote in the horrific 2020 year.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Maybe you can address that more effectively, right?
So 2020 was, of course, horrific for everyone. It was especially horrific for me. My grandmother was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer in January. She passed in February. And the next month, almost immediately after, in fact, I had COVID. I was everyone was in quarantine. And then we were in lockdown forever. And during that time, the only thing that kept me remotely sane was writing. So.
And Eli himself got COVID. That's another
I
thing.
I did.
Right? So a bunch of horrible and scary things happening all at once. So the writing was what kept them sane. So because it was a very intimate thing and very personal, it made sense for the video to be intimate and personal. Because it displayed what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly. And yet on that video, I only showed my face at the very end, and even then it was a picture, not actually a video of me.
Right. Exactly. Now for me, I've got kind of a reverse thing going on. My thing is, it's kind of a crazy universe. It's meant to be on a huge epic scale. It's got a lot of cinematic elements in the way in which it's written. The video had to match. But you still had to know who I was. and also the selling point. Remember that you are your own brand,
Yes.
right? They mentioned this in the marketing your book panel. Quite a lot of panels about marketing have pointed this out, right? So people need to know who you are as part of the brand.
Yes. And one of the things that I was branding for the Hindsight Being 2020 Kickstarter was I was branding myself because this book is me on a page.
Right. I mean, it sort of always is that. This is a passion
True.
project for me too, but yours is much more intimate than mine
Yeah.
for sure. So you're right. It's kind of everything was laid bare, right?
Yeah.
So. Okay, so going back to questions.
Oh, yeah, we probably have more of those, huh?
Oh, well, there's one waiting here. Story Girl said, and by the way, thank you, Nick, for putting these all in a chat. If any of the moderators had done this all weekend, I would have been really grateful. Okay, anyway, I'm teasing them because it's the end of the day and they know it.
Yeah.
Okay, Story Girl says, did you check out any publishing gateway options like Drive-Through Fiction or itch.io before going to Kickstarter? Print on demand is a little more expensive and has a delayed gratification element, but you don't need to carry inventory.
I did not.
Okay, I did, and to be fair, Ingram Spark, although it doesn't present itself like that, actually is a print on demand service too.
True.
The difference between Ingram Spark and Drive-Through RPG or itch.io is that it also wholesales, right? So you can make a wholesale price available to bookstores. You can go into most of the major bookstore chains, and whether or not you see my book on the shelf, you can order it, right? You can ask for it. They'll put it on the shelf. Occasionally they buy some and then they pay me. It's not a huge amount of profit that way, but it's enough to get circulation and get yourself in the bookstores, which is important to grant. Because some people think if I didn't see it on the shelf of a bookstore, it's not a real book, right?
It's true.
So it lends some legitimacy. I did check out Drive-Through RPG, and I did look into itch.io. Or Drive-Through Fiction, rather. I put some of the Weird West Chronicles in the shorter forms on Drive-Through Fiction, and I found that it didn't catch. I thought perhaps it's just the wrong platform. I figured that at the time, Drive-Through Fiction was very new, to be fair. Drive-Through RPG had been around for a while, and Drive-Through Fiction was just kind of becoming a thing. And I thought either the audience isn't big enough or this is the wrong platform for this story, right?
Yeah.
So I took it off of there and went to Kickstarter. So, yes. What absolute tush?
I'm not sure what that is in response to. I have no idea.
If you're telling us that we're full of shit, okay, fair enough. But
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm telling you my personal experience, and that's all I got, right?
Yep, that's me too.
Yeah.
Are we full of shit? Maybe. Okay, I'm guessing that's a no to telling us we're full of shit.
Okay. I didn't think so. Not for Sudian. No.
No, that would be really out of character.
It would be totally out of character. Yes, that a book must be on the shelves to be legit. Yeah.
Yeah, that is shit.
Crap.
Okay, so here's the way of the future with publishing the way I see it. And granted, I'm not like, the publishing expert or anything like that. Don't, but looking at the way things have been trending. Ebooks are replacing pocketbooks for the cheap, quick read.
Yes.
That means there's a lot less paper out there. So right now, what bookstores are carrying are trade paperbacks and the occasional hardcover, and only if you're a really big name or like the brand new thing, right? Yeah. Which 99.9% of authors are not.
No, we really are not.
The link for A Few Good Elves is actually built right into the chat. Thanks for asking there, Angstase.
A Few Good Elves is not available at chapters yet because the Kickstarter's not over yet, Angstase.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Right. She says she sees Gunsmoke and Dragonfire and Once Upon a Time in the Weird West at chapters, but not A Few Good Elves.
Yeah, that's right. That's because it's still, as of now, $77 short of its goal.
Yeah.
So,
But you will get there. I have every faith in you.
thank you. I hope so. Knock on the door.
Yeah. I'd knock on the door, but it's way over there.
Yeah. Well, knock on the door, knock on wood. Yeah. Sorry, I was distracted because I was looking at the chat and another link. So, I think that there's going to be a lot more of crowd-funded publishing projects in the future as more publishing houses either close or conglomerate, and as I don't like Amazon, but my books are available to Amazon because you have to deal with Amazon because you have no choice if you want to actually get books into people's hands nowadays, which is a whole nother panel I could be on, but I'm not going to get into it right now.
Yeah, that's something for next year maybe, but
Yeah, that's right. They're the devil you have to deal with.
yeah, it's true.
Okay, so as more and more these big, publishing becomes a corporate interest for giant corporations, and books become more and more about the product rather than the story.
Right.
The top selling books are always the biography of some celebrity.
Yeah, exactly.
And the top of the fantasy category on Amazon or most online retailers is Dungeons and Dragons, which isn't even a fiction book.
No, it is not.
So more and more smaller publishers are closing as the price of printing goes up and up, and more and more of the market is controlled by bigger and bigger groups. So I think that we are
like Random Penguin House.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we should be looking at a new way of doing publishing, right? And it's not, this is why I wrote this article, which I'm linking in the chat, which was posted on the Sifler blog.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like between independent and traditional publishing. Because it's not, like I said, it's like a market test. Is there a market for this book? Are there enough people out there who are interested in this project that they are willing to invest in it before it's actually on a shelf?
Yes.
Right? If you can do that, then there's merit in it, and you can, there's merit in anything you write, but
exactly.
I'm talking merit of publishing. Thanks, Eli. Yeah, exactly, right? So I think this is like a third path, right?
Yes.
It combines elements of both of the other two, and it's kind of its own thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you. There is independent publishing, as most people think of it, where it's like, I'm putting an ebook on Amazon or whatever platform you're going with, because some people won't put their stuff on Amazon. And there's traditional publishing, which is what it is. And then there's the kickstarting for writers, which is taking off and turning into its own thing. And even the big name publishers, or not the big name publishers, the big name authors are starting to do it.
Yeah. I see that Chris Salia has a good question here. Do you recommend new writers go for crowdfunding instead of traditional publishing? That's a good question. What's your thoughts, Eli?
I would say it sort of depends. If you already have some kind of following, you might be okay with Kickstarter. If you're building your following from the book up, maybe not. It might not be such a good fit for you.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. We're going to do a panel tomorrow on traditional versus indie publishing so that you can get an idea of the pros and cons of either. I would say as things currently stand, neither one's better, right? There are disadvantages and advantages to both paths. A lot of it in both paths have to do with luck. Let's just be honest here, right? There are a lot of really talented writers in the world.
Yes.
The ones who succeed are not necessarily better than you.
No.
Right? They're just luckier or more stubborn and finally got luckier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is also true. I would agree with, in the case of crowd publishing, as I like to call it, right? I agree with Eli. You kind of need a platform to start with.
Yeah.
So but I mean, Twitch has been part of my platform. World Anvil has been part of my platform. And this has been, to be honest with you, the first couple of Kickstarters I did, I generally pestered my Facebook friends by tagging them one by one, as much as Facebook would allow me to at a time, to go, hey, did you know that I've got this going on? Because you can't get eyes on your without real money on Facebook anymore, right?
Yep, it's true.
Part of the reason why I left it. This time, I'm off Facebook. I did not have that option. So the primary method that I funded the other 2 books by was no longer available to me. It was a risk. But I said to myself, well, I believe I have a really awesome community that likes to support each other, and I believe they will support me. So I'm going to throw this out there and give it a shot. And we're pretty close to it. So far the gamble seems to be paying off, and you guys have been as supportive as I thought you were going to be, right?
Yeah.
And thank you for that. You're amazing. And, I was counting on you, and you're coming through for me.
Yes.
And it's awesome.
Oddly enough, the 2 platforms that have helped me the most are Twitch, which, okay, I was expecting that to a certain degree because y'all are amazing. And this is the weird one. The Los Angeles burlesque community, which is an incredibly supportive community, but I was 100% not expecting that. They funded at least half of the Kickstarter for hindsight.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which brings me to, don't be afraid to harass people a little bit, right?
Oh, no. Yeah.
I say that, don't spam people.
No. But ask it at least once a week.
More than that.
But
ask every time you're going live, if you're running a show. Mention, by the way, I've got a Kickstarter. Here's the thing, and then leave it after that. But, mention it and keep mentioning it. I ran a metaphysical store for 7 years. 3 days before it closed, forever, somebody walked in as they watched me pack up and say, oh, I didn't know this was here. People don't hear things, and you never know who might have been missed. So keep mentioning it. Don't bother people and go, you don't love me if you didn't support my project. Because, first of all, that's ridiculous.
That's not how that works. People love you. If they don't support your project, they're poor. They don't have the funds at that particular time. If they can't support you, maybe they didn't know that there was anything to support. A lot of the people who I went to on Facebook were like, wait, you had a Kickstarter? I didn't see anything. And just, you've got to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they just don't have the bandwidth at the time.
Yeah. There's other reasons why people might not support it. Maybe you're not into war stories, and so you're not interested in reading my book. That's cool. You know?
Or maybe you're like Coffee, who doesn't have a credit card right now because...
That's a real problem, because Kickstarter only accepts credit cards, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
debit bank cards, too, as long as they're debit visas.
Yeah, but every time Coffee tries to use their bank card, they're like... The bank says, wait, you're not in Japan, you're in Florida. And Coffee's like, no, I've been here for a while.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, and lots of people have that problem. Right. And some people, perhaps their morals, think that you're being a beggar by asking people to support and back your project. Right. Like, I don't know whether it's intended as kidding or not. Right. But it doesn't really matter, because it brings up a point in terms of a criticism that is valid. Right. That people have said. There's also the option of steal your own lunch money and fund it yourself. Right. Some people don't think that you should be sourcing anything from the public if there isn't already a project out there. They think, make the project first. Right. And, budget and save and, whatever to do that. Right. But some people, and that's fine. Right. Like if that's your view, then okay. right?
If you can make it work,
that's cool.
if you can make it work, make it work. If you can't make it work, and in my case, I could absolutely not make that work. I have 0 savings despite the best efforts of
Yeah.
both me and Mr. Twinkle. So that was never going to happen in my case. It was always going to be a case of crowdfunding or bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're pretty much ready to wrap this up here. We've been going for almost 2 hours.
Right.
For an hour, I mean.
I think, yeah, I did answer it. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had answered Chrysalia's question effectively. So.
Yeah. And
Yes.
was there any other questions from the chat there, Sable?
None holding at the moment.
Okay.
You're caught up. Hey, Aegon. Good to see you.
Oh, Aegon, you got us just as we're leaving. Right?
Oh, Fantasine made our point for us again. They use their PayPal to buy things sometimes, but the bank refuses the transaction. Yeah, you never know what's going to end up coming up. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, before we take off here for the night, thank you to all of you who persisted with this and who were patient with the fact that we started half an hour late. This is because the Game of Tomes panel ran into some technical difficulties, but it was a fairly popular requested panel. Lots of people, we wanted to do it, let's be honest here. So we figured it would be easier.
Okay.
Oh, we have another...
Oh, question?
Yep.
Yeah.
What question would you have asked if you were the one asking the questions?
Ooh,
Yeah, what
that's a
didn't
good
I
question.
ask? That I should have.
I think that's for us.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to think about that one for a second.
Maybe, let's see, I don't know. I'm so tired. It's the end of 2 days of this.
Yeah.
My room is about 45 degrees. I've been in here for 5 hours, well, for most of the day. I'm sorry. I don't know what I would have asked. Because
I don't think I would have had any questions because I've been up since the beginning of the con today. So I've been awake for 13, getting closer to 14 hours at this point.
Yeah, my body doesn't do that well without a nap in that time.
I attempted. It did not work.
Okay, so this is the last stream for the evening.
Yeah, right. Just before we go, I think that perhaps it would be... Okay, you can find me here.
Yeah.
Where can we find Eli?
Eli can be found at twitch.tv /EliKwake or EliKwake.com.
As you can see, if you can read really close here in the lower left-hand corner of Eli's screen here, it says Eli Quake. That's how it's spelled.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yes, on the 3rd of July.
Right.
Starting here at noon Pacific. Oh, were you going to talk about that, dear?
I was just going to ask, where can they find your Kickstarters? Current or follow your next one coming up? Right?
I don't have a link handy, but I know someone who does.
I do. Here's mine.
Okay. There's Sable's current Kickstarter for you. You all.
And I have linked Eli's and Basic Dragons Kickstarters here that are currently going on.
Right.
I don't think I did that right. I tried.
It should have been. It should have worked. I don't know why it didn't work.
You did it faster than me. That's why.
Oh, okay. Cool down or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can find Eli's Kickstarter there for the next book in the Reaper Saga. Basic Dragon also has a Kickstarter running. They are funded, which is awesome.
Yeah, but back a winner.
Right. That's another thing.
Right.
You are more likely to succeed if you're succeeding in Kickstarter. People are reluctant to back something that they're not sure about. If other people think it's a winner, they're more likely to back it, right? Yes. Other people are more likely to back it, which is ironic and stupid, but there you are, right? So keep that in mind. Try to make your first day as spectacular as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't under budget. but go as low as you can and pray to go higher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, put stretch goals.
Yeah, think about stretch goals. If you make more than you ask for, what will you do with that money?
Yeah.
I wish I had more time for that. Anyway, the 3rd of July, starting at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC, which is 8 p.m. in the UK, we are going to be doing a epic team up here.
Yes.
Myself, Eli, and Basic Dragon will be interviewing each other about our projects and talking about what it is that we're doing, why we're doing it, why we care, and why you should support us all. Eli's Kickstarter will have been started for about 2 days. Mine will be in about the middle, and Basic Dragons will be coming to an end.
Yes. And I'm really excited for the epic team up.
Me too. It's going to be great.
Yes. Oh, I saw a hydrate.
I can't hear you. You are muted, dear.
I'm sorry, Angstaze, we are running behind.
Yes.
Right? It's we don't have time for any more questions. Right? And I want to thank you all for streaming with us today. Right? The Writer's Conduit. I forgot to change that, but that's okay. All right. It will continue tomorrow at 10 a.m. UTC.
Just a second here. I have to look it up because you didn't put it in the stream thing, right?
Right.
Okay, 1 second. Brain, what time is it now, UTC? Can anyone tell me?
5:30 a.m.
5:30 a.m. UTC? Right, okay. So yes, actually you're right. 10 a.m. UTC.
Yeah.
We will be resuming with, let's see, copyright in the UK. We'll start things off. Crafting, engaging characters. Oh no, that's later.
Right. So copyright in the UK starts at 10 a.m. UK time. That is 2 a.m. Pacific.
Misrepresentation in media, asexuality and bisexuality.
3 a.m. Sorry.
3 a.m.
Panel, right? I'm just scrolling through the list here. I must have missed something. Just a second. We will be in. Okay. There should be a chill and chat tomorrow morning, but we don't have the host scheduled, so that'll have to be announced on the CONduit channel.
Yeah.
And what is it? 10 a.m. Okay, I did that one. 10 a.m. I think there's one more panel, but I can't find it at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
thank you very much for joining us today, though. I really appreciate everyone hanging out, and I hope you guys have had a good time with the second day of CONduit.
Right.
We will see you tomorrow. And
In about 4.5 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, 4.5 hours.
Okay.
Have a good time zone, everyone.
Have a great time zone.
Bye-bye.